Hey guys, let's go ahead and talk about Django templates. So, as you can see in our code that we have so far, we have these two views that are calling these two template names. So, how does this work? If we look at our settings, Django has as of like 1.9, I believe, maybe 1.8, there is a templates variable, I guess you call it, setting in the settings. And this is what's telling it like the backend. You can change to Jinja, but in this whole thing, we're going to be using Django templates. You can specify specific directories to look for those files, and you can also specify whether you want to look in app directories. So what we did is we're using app directories set to true. So Django, when we say in our views, hey, look for home.html, since our app directories is true, it's going to go look in our apps, which it gets from installed apps. So it's going to look in core, and it's going to see this templates folder, and it's going to be looking for home.html in here. So it can find it here, which we can see here, and that's how it gets to it from the view. That's how it knows where to look for this home.html or this about.html. So let's take a look at these two HTML documents. As you can see, they are repeating a lot. There's only one line that's different. So something very powerful in Django that we use to help reduce this, because we all know we do not repeated code in Django or in any programming language. When you're repeating code, you're pretty much doing something wrong. So let's go ahead and fix that. And to fix it, we're going to use a Django base template and extend from that template. So we're going to go ahead and copy all of this that we have here, and we're going to create a new template called base.html. This is a template that we're going to inherit from for all of our templates in our project. So we want to make sure that anything that we want to replace is going to be inside of what's called a block. So this is the line that is going to be unique to each page, everything in the body. So we're going to go ahead and do block, and we're going to call it body, and we have to end the block so it knows where to stop. So here we have this block called body, and so let's go ahead and fix it in our home. In here, we're going to delete everything we have, and we're going to do what's called extend base.html. So that's going to take my base.html file, and it's going to extend it by injecting code into these blocks. So if we do block body, if I can type, and we're going to do end block. Here we're going to do, what is it? Welcome to Explore Django. And we're going to save that, and let's see if that works. So now when we go to our base URL, we made something. Looks like we just run as extends base.html. So let's try that again, and there it is. That works. About still works, but in our about, we still have this all this repeated. So we're going to go ahead and do this, and we're going to put this as a block too. End block. Okay, so now we have that. Let's see if that about page works. And there it is. So that's how you go. That's how you make a base template in Django, and you can make it out of blocks. Let's next talk about another tag that's really common called include. So include is when you have code that is repeated that you want on you want to be able to use in different pages. So for example, let's imagine we have like footer, and this is gonna look really bad, I'm just warning you guys, but this is my footer, right? We have a footer here, and let's also put it in my home. Okay. So now we have a footer. Obviously, we have it be like down and do all that. But we aren't going to do that here. We're going to have an ugly footer. You can see here that it's also on the home, and as we know, again, we do not ever want repeated code. So what we're going to do is we want to include it. So let's say in the footer, you might say like, hey, why don't we put the footer in our base template, right? We could just do body block, and we could do footer, right? Well, the problem with that is that imagine we don't want to always have the footer. We only want the footer on certain pages. We might want to change it based on if they're authenticated. So the footer we can't extend upon because we need to change it in certain ways. We don't always want it to be there. But at the same time, we don't want to repeat our code, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create something called footer.html. And we're going to put it in here, okay? And then we can do include footer.html. Let's see if this works. Oh, this is my base template. Don't want it there. Let's say we want it on my home page, but we don't want it on about. So imagine you have 20 pages, and on 10 of them you want the footer, and on 10 of them you don't. Right now we only have 2, so it doesn't make too much sense. But if you can imagine that for a second, then we can go through and see the power of it. So now we have it included on my home page, but we do not have it on the about page. And then say later on, we say, hey, let's go ahead and put it on the about page. We can put it there and be 100% sure that we are putting in the correct code. So that is how you include code on different pages. Imagine, a lot of times it's used for nav bars. Nav bars, on a splash page, you don't want a nav bar there. You want them to log in first, and then they can have a nav bar, right? That's what includes are used for, and they're very helpful for that reason. So yeah, go ahead and play around with includes, making base templates. You can go ahead and play around with that. Let me know if you have any issues, and until next time, happy Djangoing.